What do you call? What are you calling this thing? What are you calling it?
Ah, God. What am I calling the? What are we gonna call it? The podcast?
Yeah, what are you calling the show?
I don't. You know what? Let's just do TxT Anime Hour.
You like the hour or the podcast or the?
I like the hour.
Yeah,
It's got everything it needs. It's got the fun little vibe to it.
it's got a fun vibe.
It makes it feel like a talk show, which it kind of is.
Yeah, invite our friends on.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
All right. Well,
if you are into that.
Well, we're doing TxT Anime Hour.
TxT Anime Hour. TxT Anime Hour.
See, when you say it out loud, it's cool.
I mean, it sounds like a thing, dude. Like this could be a thing.
It makes it real. It puts it in concrete, digital concrete.
Digital concrete.
Digital talkie concrete. Are you recording? I'm recording. You're recording?
Yeah.
We're doing it, Peter.
We're doing it, Peter. We're believing.
We're doing it. We're setting off on our little departure.
We're on an adventure into the lands of anime, the rich lands.
The rich, exciting, sometimes never before seen lands.
I do love anime.
I do too. And the idea of doing this got me so excited that I was looking at stuff like looking at Hulu and Crunchyroll and Netflix, like, I need to watch. I have to have something to watch so we can talk about it later when we get to that point.
Great call.
And
what'd you land on?
I didn't land on anything because I just got too excited.
It's a really good idea. I love that idea. Like something that we could both watch and stay up to date on, kind of thing.
Yeah, or something we could rewatch and revisit, like Demon Slayer or something.
Absolutely. I'll watch that over and over again.
Oh, same. Or we could restart Mob Psycho because that's another one I could rewatch.
Yeah, I'm not fully caught up. We are a couple episodes into the third season. I haven't
caught up on
it. Man, that show's such a good time.
Season 2 is so good. The animation alone.
It's unreal. I feel like we'll probably land on something, like, if not by the end of this lovely first episode. I'm sure just our discussions are going to get us so excited that we have to just latch onto something and either rewatch it or watch something new or watch something. Like, I guarantee there's going to be stuff that, probably more so on my side, stuff that you've watched that I haven't seen.
And vice versa, too.
Maybe some vice versa. That's something I'm interested to see. I have no idea. No idea.
You haven't seen Made in Abyss, and I won't shut up about it. There's
True.
one.
That's one right there. But that's what I'm saying is, like, I think you've got a handful of those. Your tastes. I was I was doing this thing today that I'm gonna get into and show you.
All right.
Well, show you verbally. And I was reminiscing about all the stuff that I love, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to be in front of a microphone, having to tell them that I'm just a shonen, shonen freak.
Oh yeah.
Like, my tastes are wide. Like, I certainly love a lot of different stuff, but I'm so drawn towards the lovely repetitive genre that is shonen battle anime.
Shonen. You know what shonen is? It's comfort food. That's what it is for me.
Just a nice warm bowl of soup. Just a nice hamburger.
It is. That's what One Piece is to me.
Safe sandwich. That's a really good.
Yeah,
that's
safe
a good metaphor.
Sandwich.
Yeah, just the comfort food idea in general. You just like, nestle up and
I've never had a bad time
like
watching One Piece. You know what I mean? Like, because that's now when I think shonen, obviously there's Naruto, there's Dragon Ball Z, and there's Bleach. But for whatever reason, my brain just immediately goes to One Piece.
Really, hey?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, rightfully so. It's still the one.
It is, dude. A long time ago, before I really got into anime, I was listening to a podcast, shocker, and the guys got onto, I can't remember if they were on just anime in general or Japan in general, but one of the co-hosts started talking about how One Piece it's the thing in Japan. It's the #1 franchise there.
That's incredible.
And I was just like, wow, wait, not Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I think it's still beloved, maybe, hopefully, but I think One Piece is rightfully kind of surpassed that. I don't know enough about Japanese culture, admittedly,
Yeah.
but like that's incredible that
And
that's the
I'm
case.
willing to believe that, One Piece is still number one because there's this YouTube channel of this guy just taking night walks through different places in Japan. Dude, they even have like little caution sign with Luffy's face on it.
No, they don't.
They do. I hand to
No
God.
way.
That's how big One Piece is they have little road caution signs with Luffy on them.
That's so cool. I need to know. I need to see this firsthand. I need to know how prevalent it is. That just makes me happy. Even if there's only a couple, I have no idea. But dude, that just makes me happy.
It's so great. If I can find the video, I will send it to you because
Yeah.
I saw it and I got so irrationally happy at something so dumb.
Oh, I love that. Like, anime is just my favorite. Like, and I mean, I think that yeah, you've got your big three, right? You've got your Dragon. We're talking shonen, you've got your Dragon Ball Z's, this granddaddy, and then you've got the big three: Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. And you've got One Piece is carrying on still, and then yeah, you've got the Borutos, and you've got
Yeah.
Bleach coming back to finish itself off, and all of this incredible stuff. Certainly and Dragon Ball Super's back. Like it's all still a thing, but One Piece has just kept on trucking.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, here's the thing about One Piece. Even the lows in One Piece are still pretty high, but that's a personal opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, from the bit that I've seen, I'm less than 250 episodes in. But I already have that sense. Like it feels. I mean, we were talking a little bit before about how the filler doesn't feel as fillery, or maybe I was talking with somebody else about that. But it's kind of all integrated a little bit. Like it's just there's a vibe to it that makes it less. It's less drudgery to go through something that's probably filler in One Piece from what I've seen so far. It's just got this even tone to it of adventure.
Then that's the thing about it is it's just even the filler is like, hey, they're still on the adventure. They're still together doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh man.
So on the topic of adventure,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is an ambush or not, my man, but how did you get to anime? Like what's the story, as much or as little detail as you want? Like what brought you to anime? What animes did you start with? How did that kind of progress? Sort of thing.
Okay, so
I'm just so curious.
we got to hit the rewind button because I think I'm going to be so bold as to declare we might have a bit of the same starting out story with it because I was a Dragon Ball Z kid growing up. Were you?
I certainly was, but I started before that.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a bit of an age gap between us, and so I'm actually really curious. Like we don't have to hit every age at all these things happen, but I think that because where I began, maybe we'll all bounce back and forth a little
we
bit.
can do that.
I began with Pokemon.
Oh, you know what? Well, yeah. So that was it was both for me as a kid
Yep.
and Digimon.
Totally. That's on my list too. But go ahead. So you Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that was pretty much the childhood and whatever, random stuff was on Cartoon Network, Toonami, or 4Kids.
Totally.
And I loved all that stuff as a kid, but then, you become the teenager and you just don't like a lot of things anymore. It was kind of weird, like, the 2010s, 2010s, like anime just became the go-to thing to meme on.
Interesting observation.
And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I didn't think much of it until I'm trying to properly place the timeline. So I just randomly watched the very first season of Attack on Titan on YouTube, not YouTube, Netflix, back when Netflix was good. And then I gushed about it to my friend Patrick, who at the time was a huge, huge anime fan. And he gave me some recommendations, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. He gave me recommendations that I think are kind of like just diving in head first. One of his recommendations, if you've ever seen it, is School Days. Are you familiar with School Days?
Feel like I can picture the logo or something, but I have not watched School Days. No.
Oh my God.
What are we talking here?
I cannot spoil it. It is,
All
I
right.
will say it's kind of a romance anime, but the ending, not very romantic. No, you're not gonna watch that on date night.
All right.
But then, I kind of watched stuff on my own. I watched Terraformers, which is I think I had looked up like stuff related to Attack on Titan. Someone's like, it's Attack on Titan in space.
Nice.
It kind of is. And
that's cool. I've not seen that either.
it's really good. I like it. It's one of those ones that's like the first season is incredible. Second season exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is
I feel
upsetting. But then after that, I don't know. I kind of just sort of gradually would chill watching random stuff on my laptop. Like started My Hero Academia when it was just getting into its second season.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Hellsing Ultimate. That's a big one to really dive into.
That's a ride. Yep.
I loved it though. Oh my God, did I love it. And keep in mind, by the way, this is all still like casual viewing, just putting it on to have something to watch,
Yeah, for sure.
And that was, when was that? That was probably 2017, 2018, around that time maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became, for me, a brand new ritual. I had, and this is still back when Netflix was good, I have my Xbox 360 and I had my wireless Turtle Beach headphones. And I would pick a show to binge until 2 a.m, just chilling in my room, watching
That's awesome.
watching anime blaring into my ears.
What a paradise.
It was, I would love to do it again because I discovered Knights of Sidonia. I love Knights of Sidonia. I discovered Kill la Kill.
Oh, yeah.
Gurren Lagann.
Yep.
Sword Art Online. I know Sword Art Online has it's like 50-50 with people on the internet. I love it.
Yeah, but it's worth the watch.
Yeah. You'll end up liking it or hating it.
Yeah, I like the first 12 episodes.
There's not a lot of episodes I hate on it, if I'm being completely honest.
That's good. That's awesome.
And
that's so good.
Blue Exorcist, that was one I got into.
That's one that I've seen a little bit of, but haven't watched a bunch.
That one's fun too. I highly recommend it. Death Note as well.
Oh yeah, Death Note's a classic. These are, like you said, these are all on Netflix, or at least were kind of thing.
Some of them got put back, thankfully.
Yeah, you're putting it in perspective that like they didn't have a horrible lineup.
No, they had a great lineup. Like, oh God, 6 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, it allowed you to get into all this stuff. Like that's the big win.
It was crazy. Like the second it clicked for me, it was just like, okay, I need to absorb just all of these characters and worlds and all the music and actions.
And did that click around this time? Like when you were watching these shows?
Oh yeah.
Like some of these shows that you're talking about?
Oh yeah. 100%.
During the 2 a.m. binges
era? Yeah, the 2 a.m. binge era. It was just, that's when I was super into it.
That's
And
awesome.
to be perfectly honest, I miss it. I really miss it. It's not like I could do it. It's not like I'm old, I can't bounce back like I used to situation. It's just now there's just so many options for viewing, like so many platforms, so many shows now that are open to me. And then there are movies.
You got the paradox of choice.
Yep, I really do. And that's kind of why I just go, okay, well, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, I think it happens to a lot of folks. Like paradox of choice is definitely a real phenomenon. You got too many.
Oh, absolutely.
You got too many options, and it's like there's so many options that you spend a bunch of time looking at them, and you're analyzing them from this perspective of like which one's the best option for me to watch right now, and by not picking one, you don't have to make that choice. But the converse is also true. If you pick one, they say that you're actually more likely to be less stoked on that thing.
Oh yeah, that's happened to me.
Because you might have thought like, oh, I picked wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been watching whatever other show, And
it even happens if you have one in mind that you're going to just watch specifically, because you see all the other options. You're like, wait, but that's here now. Oh, and that's here.
Yeah, 100%. You got to just overcome it and stay up till 2 a.m. watching anime, my friend.
Dude, they're like 75% of the time, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to rewatch Gurren Lagann. I don't care.
Oh, hey, that's worthy.
It is.
It's worthy.
If you're staying up until 2 a.m., Gurren Lagann, do it.
Yeah. Man, I slept on that show for the longest time.
And then you finally watched it and your eyes were open.
My eyes were opened. Like, that is an eye-opening show. What?
There's no one to hate in the show.
No, it's got a great cast, great energy, great pace, like bit of a
Yeah.
pace change up halfway through, but wow, does it ever, it just hits some notes. Like we're going to get into some of the, like, I think we're going to get into some of the what does anime mean to us sort of thing, and we can circle back to Gurren Lagann because it's got
it
what I
all.
love. Yeah. And all in just like similar to One Piece in a way, a bit more of a cartoony or lighthearted kind of package. Like there's something bright
Yeah.
about the packaging on that one, and then the message is just so bright. And
And the serious moments,
that's a good
it
one.
lets, here's the thing that I love is let the serious moment play out. And it doesn't matter if it's anime
Yeah.
or, a regular sitcom or a movie. I want to just be in that moment and see it play out. I don't want to intercut
Yeah.
with a joke. I just want to be able to stay there.
That's awesome. Like I think sometimes people are able to, like, actually Bleach does the opposite of that, and I've noticed it a lot. I noticed it a lot rewatching some of my favorite moments and then watching some of the new stuff that's on now. They will take a serious moment, and there are serious moments, and they do let them play out. But it's so funny you say this because they kind of use a different technique, is what I've noticed. They will play a serious moment and then they will punctuate it at the end with a joke. Like that's just where the writers decided humor needs to go, and I can definitely see
Yeah.
how that's maybe not a roller coaster and maybe not jarring, but something of the sort where you're steeped in this serious moment. Let's just enjoy the seriousness of that. We don't need to pop out of it. But I think that when it's incorporated into the style of a thing, it can also be good. Because with Bleach,
Yeah,
it's not that
it
I'm
can be done
expecting
right.
it. Yeah, it's just kind of like part of the experience with some things. But that's a really good call
Yeah.
out that, let the serious moments sink in.
So that's basically kind of my whole thing with anime. Loved it as a kid, teenager, meh, whatever. Very late teens to up to now. I love everything about it.
Oh,
I love it so much. I stayed up until 2 a.m. to watch it all.
that makes me so happy. I don't know. It's just so it's so magical. So like, okay, this is the fun thing that I did today that I wanted to tell you about. You've already kind of done yours verbally. In preparation for this conversation, even though it is a conversation, I had to, for my own sanity, draw it out on a timeline because I just got so curious. I'm like, what was my anime
you got
progression?
thinking about it.
Yeah, and it just made me so happy. I went right down memory lane, and it was so enjoyable that afterwards I did it with I did a timeline with other hobbies and with video games and stuff as well.
Oh.
But I haven't completed those ones. But this, I basically took my little anime upbringing in grade school and just kind of like went through it all. Which was just so fun. And I do think that we've got some years between us, but I think that the gap closes with how things kind of went. I think that basically you just had a more accelerated journey because you had streaming platforms, whereas I
did.
am like, and you still got to experience the television days. You got to experience 4 Kids.
I had 4 kids, VHS tapes, all
Yeah,
of it.
so you've lived that. It's just that you got to live it maybe a little faster, which is sweet. I rocked Pokemon. What was here's the funny thing about all these is, like, in order to make this timeline, I was able to cross-reference my memories of when these things happened with when the animes came out. And I'm not that old, but I literally had this. I won't go through every memory, but I had this memory. I'm like, okay, what started anime for me? Answer: Pokemon. How did Pokemon happen? Well, I was in grade 1. And I was in grade 1. I'm 6 or 7 years old, probably 6 based on the timeline. I'm 6 years old, and I remember being at school and somebody's like trying to tell me, they're trying to describe Ghastly to me.
Oh my God.
And they're drawing the most terrible picture, and it's Ghastly. It should be easy. And I can remember the picture they drew. It was terrible. And they're trying to tell me about what the heck a Pokemon is, and I'm not getting it. And they just tell me to go home and watch it. And no joke, I went home on that day of school and, got my mom to turn on our equivalent of 4 Kids. It was called YTV, and because I'm up in Canada, and so we turned it on, and Pokemon was on that day. The day people were trying to tell me about Pokemon as a 6-year-old, it was on. And from then, I was just hooked.
The perfect
Went
alignment.
through went through the Pokemon card phase. Digimon came out what appears to be just like a year later, based on my research. And Digimon was cool too. Somewhere around the year 2000 is when I learned that Dragon Ball Z started airing in Canada. That was kind of interesting.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when I first saw Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is a little bit of an anomaly because it caught fire in my life. Like I went from Pokemon, Digimon, then somewhere in there, Metabots and Beyblade.
Oh, Metabots.
So good, right?
Bring it back.
Yeah, well, I think it's still a thing, maybe in Japan, maybe a bit of a cult following, I don't know. But I think that there's still content, whether it's video games or maybe there's manga, I don't know. But I do think it's a thing, but it's certainly not a thing here. And it was such a cool IP.
It was awesome. I loved it.
And then I've got here 2002 is when Yu-Gi-Oh came out. And at this point, I'm like not into Pokemon cards the same way that I was as a little kid. Now, I'm still 10 years old during this part of the timeline. I'm 10 years old. Yu-Gi-Oh comes out, and my poor parents, my poor mom is like, Yu-Gi-Oh can never become what Pokemon was. And I'll tell you, it sure did.
Yeah, that backfired.
And oh man, I have way more Yu-Gi-Oh cards than I have Pokemon cards. Sorry, Mom. And it's so funny because of the, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows we've listed so far, Pokemon, Digimon, Metabots, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh, all of these have merchandise, ladies and gentlemen.
They do.
You know, and then even when we get into the Dragon Ball Z stuff, like I didn't have the hugest collection of toys or anything for Dragon Ball Z, but we started collecting, some Shonen Jump, some thick Shonen Jump manga
the big ones.
Magazines, the big ones, and from bookstores. And then there was actually a magazine called Beckett Magazine, and they had like a Yu-Gi-Oh edition, and they had a Dragon Ball Z edition, and we just found them in a bookstore once. And again, my poor mom is buying us these magazines all the time. And the reason I'm going into all this is just each one of these things grabbed me, but man, when Dragon Ball Z grabbed me, it didn't let me go, which is just so funny because like there's so much to obviously critique about it, and it's not the world's greatest thing, but it really is the granddaddy of lots of these animes that I just love so much now, you know. And the stuff that I loved about Dragon Ball Z is the stuff that still shines through all these other shows, and it just gets me so amped. So I have it written down on my little goofy timeline here that when I was between 10 and 11 years old, DBZ consumed me. Oh my God. That's my 2 a.m. days. I just was a 10-year-old kid, wanted to draw manga and go to Japan. You know, I'm in grade 6 and
I want to go meet Goku.
Oh, I wanted to go, I don't know, draw my own Goku. I don't know what I wanted, but from there, you know, became a teenager. Thankfully, I mean, it's cool because you found your way back. Like, I love that. That's phenomenal. For me, it was always a background hum. Like it always existed, especially Dragon Ball Z.
So you never grew out of it?
Not once.
Oh, I respect. I respect that so much.
Well, like I said, I respect the fact that you circled back. Like, I love that it didn't just disappear as a teenager forever. That's
oh yeah, it was always there, but it, you know, I would make the occasional joke about it. Yes, I would, but I never hated it or anything.
Yeah. That's awesome. And like, you know, when I was in school as a teenager, like I was outwardly into other things. Like, you know, music, I think takes over everybody's life as a teenager often. Like that was a big thing for me. But I was never a cool kid. I was never trying to impress anybody, but I kept with my friend group, and I didn't necessarily advertise. Nowadays, I'm not afraid to advertise that I love anime, but it's a different world.
Yeah, it really
back
is.
then, I didn't intentionally avoid it, but I also didn't go out of my way to be the kid who likes anime in my high school.
Yeah,
so,
I get that.
Yeah, but in the background, when I was at home, so here's the thing. This is one thing I wanted to illustrate. Was the beauty of having a streaming service like you had. Like that's killer because you could consume a lot of different things, which is awesome. I was stuck in the days that you experienced, the VHS days and the TV days. I was stuck in those days for a pretty long time. because it was all VHS and TV and DVDs all the way up until
2010, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, totally, man. And so like I'm watching Inuyasha on Fridays and
my
Saturday
God.
nights. Like these things are hard to get to. And so I was just watching Dragon Ball Z on repeat, and just watching whatever was kind of available. And then when streaming became a thing, I remember actually right before streaming became a thing was Full Metal Alchemist. My friend burned Full Metal Alchemist. Sorry about the piracy, but he burned Full Metal Alchemist onto some DVDs.
And not even
so
Brotherhood, the original.
No, totally, man.
Oh my
God. It
God.
was the original and loved it. I loved it. And then when Brotherhood came out, I'm like, not going to watch it because the original's already good enough. And I held that position.
Oh my God.
I know. It's so embarrassing and amazing to look back on because
Not to derail you, to be fair, in its own way, Full Metal Alchemist it's really good. I like it.
I can't go back and watch it. I mean, I guess I haven't tried. That my gut instinct is I can't go back and watch it because I love Brotherhood too much. But you could very well be right, because I certainly friggin' loved it in 2007. You know,
You could at least have you could at least have the nostalgia goggles for it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like I'd be too critical because the way I flip flopped on it was just so extreme. I was like, nah, guys, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, there's no point. Full Metal's so good. Like, I'm not gonna bother. And then they're like, I really think you should watch it.
And another seeing the light moment happened.
Oh, I finally watched it and I saw the light and I was like, what was I talking about? And now I'm the preacher telling people, like, don't bother with the original, which to your point, you probably could. But I do evangelize Brotherhood quite a lot due to my folly.
A quick anecdote: when Brotherhood came back to Netflix, this plays back. This was still in the staying up till 2 a.m. days, mind you.
Yeah.
One day I had just a very mild, like I guess it was a cold, but it was still very mild that it didn't like hinder me or anything. Mm-hmm. I may have stayed up until 3 a.m. watching Brotherhood. And guess who exacerbated the cold to a very horrible level?
Oh, that's not the time you want to stay up till 3 a.m.
No, but did I regret it? No. Would I do it again?
You were just sick longer.
So
worth
it.
it.
So kids, if you're battling a cold, don't get bed rest. Just stay up until 3 watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, it could have been the thing that healed you in the end from that cold.
Maybe it did.
You were actually slated, staying up till 3 a.m. or not, you were actually slated to be sick for, X days longer than you were. But because you stayed up till 3 a.m.
I made it worse. Yeah, I probably did. I don't get sick very often anymore, but that time I did, and I paid for it.
Incredible story. Like, that is way up there for me. And then I guess I'll finish my little blurb about anime because, like, this is just kind of the foundation, the silly, shaky foundation I was built on all these classics. But what was funny is I didn't find myself with the big three for a very long time. So, like, I had people in my life who liked Naruto, got into Naruto. I didn't have anywhere to watch Naruto. And so this was, again, in like the piracy days. So they were able to, I was a pirate myself, but I wasn't downloading entire hundreds of anime episodes at a time. So I didn't really have an easy way to watch, Naruto and I had no interest in Bleach, which is interesting because in 2008 Bleach took over my mind. The same guy who introduced me to Full Metal, who was like, dude, watch this. I was like, hey, I trust you. And
the track record is there. I believe you.
Oh, and it is to this day. Because Bleach was just another heavy hitter for me, and to this day it's the only of the big three that I have seen all of. Like, obviously it's not finished, but after the anime went on pause, I read the manga all the way up until it ended. Yeah, it's the only show I've actually done that for, but Bleach is killer. Like, it is really good, and it's just so funny because now that I can see Naruto and One Piece, I'm finally trying to catch up, but they're kind of behemoths, right? They're
their own
big,
monsters,
to say the least, about One Piece. Yeah, so I'll get there, but it's just kind of funny because I had all this kids stuff, and then Dragon Ball Z, and Full Metal, and then eventually found my way to Bleach, and then we get outside of high school,
and
we are we are now into, 2010, and then streaming became a thing. And like, I won't even continue the timeline because the rest is kind of history. Along the same lines as yourself, it was kind of just binge what grabbed my attention. And now I'm able to, we're talking, how long ago was 2010?
Too long?
Is that 13 years?
Too long.
That's a lot of years. That's a lot of years of watching.
That's a lot of anime.
Shonen battle anime. So yeah, that's it's so funny to see the differences, but really I feel like where we are now, like we just kind of both ended up in very similar places.
It is funny how the paths start the same, then there's the divergence, and then it, leads back to being on the same place and leading to where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's so
I love
cool.
that. That's incredible.
So good.
And what's funny is you had kind of mentioned briefly about Dragon Ball Z. Not, you're like, I didn't know when it came in, but like when you said that, I was like, it's kind of always been there once you really start to think about that one very specific thing.
Yeah, that's it is. And it's such a weird one because it was, I knew that it was on as well. Like it was on in the background. Like it was definitely an anime that existed while I was watching all of this other stuff. Like it's older than all this stuff. Like Dragon Ball's older than all of this stuff that I was into, like the Pokemon and such. And so it was always there, kind of like you're saying. And then also along the lines of what you're saying, like it just kind of came in, and I don't know when it caught that fire, but maybe it was just kind of on one day, and then I was like, what is this? Because it, like you said, it's there, it's always been there. And then one day I was just the right age and caught my eye in just the right way. I think it was on after school, after Pokemon for a period of time. Like eventually it got pushed to like 8 p.m. ish, which became a whole nother era of my life.
Yeah, even here it became the late night go-to anime.
Yeah. So I want to say though that there was a brief period of time where it was on right after school alongside Pokemon and stuff, and I think that's when I had to have seen it, and I'm really glad I did.
What I'm so curious now. Do you remember like what arc it was that you first experienced it on? Was it Frieza? Was it Cell? Was it Boo?
So that I do know. It was none of those. It was a Saiyan saga. Yeah. So what's really funny about it in Canada, I don't know what it was like in the US, but this was when it was first airing, and it went through the weirdest thing. It came out in one dub. It was called the Ocean dub. That was the Canadian studio that was dubbing it. Okay. And the episodes I was watching, I believe, were in the Ocean dub. And then they suddenly changed to the Funimation dub, but the Funimation dub only went up to like the Android Saga or something like that. And then it came back as the Ocean dub. But what's interesting about this is not just the fact that I had to deal with the voices changing. It was that what I was watching were these sagas start over and over and over again. So when I started watching it, it was in the Saiyan saga. And then we would watch all the way up. It would air once a day, 5 days a week. It would go all the way up to wherever they had run out of dubbed episodes. And then it would start over again.
Oh, God.
So I watched the Saiyan saga over and over and over again. And then once we got into the Frieza saga, I watched it over and over and over again. And at this point, I'm in elementary school. I know what a Super Saiyan is through rumor, through legend.
Oh my God.
It was a legend. The internet is just becoming a thing at this point. Like, I am dating myself with this, but the internet when I'm 10 years old is not super available. And when I was really getting into Dragon Ball Z, this is so goofy to say out loud, but it's one of my most endearing memories, and I still have this. I have a massive binder of essentially a Dragon Ball Z Wikipedia before Wikipedia even existed, because Wikipedia didn't exist. Right. And so I would scour the internet for cool pictures of Super Saiyans and little blog posts about Planet Namek lore.
God.
All fan-created stuff, and I just have this cringy magical binder. Like I said, it consumed me. Like, I created my own little Wikipedia binder of Dragon Ball Z lore and cool pictures. And for part of that period of time, I hadn't even seen a Super Saiyan on TV yet because it took a long time to get to Goku turning Super Saiyan. And so, yeah, long way of answering your question. It was in the Saiyan saga, and then I watched the Saiyan saga again, and then part of the Frieza saga, and then again, and then eventually the whole Frieza saga. And this went on and on and on until one day they eventually aired it all. And it was a long fought journey. You think Dragon Ball Z's long watching it today? Try watching the sagas over and over again just because it's the only anime you could. It's the only cool anime.
Put it on repeat
TV.
after the last episode. Oh my god, that's kind of diabolic, but kind of cool at the same time.
It's hilarious.
Oh, I love that.
It was enough. I don't know how the Saiyan saga was enough, but it sure was.
I don't know why my brain always glosses over that saga. Like, it just doesn't exist for some weird reason. It just goes straight into Frieza.
Well, I think it's totally fair. I think that it's because the big bad in the Saiyan saga became a big good.
Yeah. It's true.
Because you can make all these cool posters of Frieza, Cell, and Boo, you know, and you've got all these villains, but people are going to look at you funny if you include a picture of Saiyan Saga Vegeta in that, people aren't going to look at you funny. They're going to be like, okay, there's your 4 big arcs, but nobody's calling Vegeta like a main villain after that point, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he becomes a good guy. I think that it's really easy to remember the big bads, right?
And I think it's been so long too, because, you know, this is reiterating what you're saying. I don't remember a time of Vegeta actually being evil. It's been so long.
Yeah, fair. That's totally fair. That's so funny.
Wild.
Okay, so I don't know if there's anywhere specific you want to take it. I had another question on my mind.
Hit me with it.
Which is basically that, okay, we've talked about kind of how we've gotten to this point. We dug into some details. We glossed over others. We'll talk about it at length, I'm sure, as we kind of go. But I was thinking we could talk about what anime means to us. So, like, my question would be to you, like, okay, you've learned to love this thing. It left and came back, so to speak. And it came back in force. You clearly love anime. We're talking about it with microphones in front of our faces. What do you love about it? Like, go anywhere with this that you want. Like, what do you love about it? What does it mean to you?
Oh man, it's funny that you brought it up. So I have a friend, Josh, who got into anime too. And the other week, as I told you, I was hanging out with him. We went to his buddy's house. They both work for the post office. And apparently, a lot of the people at the post office here love anime. Amazing. Just as much as Josh does. And this one coworker, he was like, I don't hate anime. I've never given it a try. What is it about? What is it? What do you like about it? And I didn't even hesitate. I told him, like, I love the suspension of disbelief. I love the suspension of disbelief. I love being able to just put it on, see these characters, see what they're capable of, see the worlds they live in, and see the adventures that they can go on. That's what it is for me.
And is there, what would you say the difference is between watching anime and watching like live action series or movies, or like, do you have them in categorically different places in your mind, or do you love the suspension of disbelief of all of them, or like, are they different or are they the same?
Well, like with live action stuff, like obviously the idea is to have a semblance of it rooted in believability and reality, right?
Yeah.
And with anime, like you're allowed to just say, hey, this kid here, he can fly just by thinking about it. That's it. He can do that.
Yeah. We don't need to
give 100 reasons about why he does it. It's not midichlorians, man. It's not a blood disease.
Yeah, it could be anything.
It could be anything. It could just be the fact that he's like really happy about something, and like, hey, look, your emotions are why you're able to do this.
Yeah, and this is just how this world works, and we can do whatever we want because it's animation.
Yeah, and that's another thing about anime is like emotions aren't like a what am I trying to? I don't want to say they're a prop. Because, like, obviously you're going to watch a drama show and the emotional bits, you know, if they connect with you, they connect with you like they're supposed to.
Yep.
But with anime, like, all the emotions are there and they feel like they're human, which I guess kind of goes against I like it for the suspension of disbelief. But at the same time, it is kind of nice to experience a human moment in, like, these greatly exaggerated worlds. You know what I mean?
Totally, man. Because if they weren't so human, like, it would be hard to connect and to relate to it. So even though you get to experience this fantastical world, whatever it may be, having the actual emotions and dialogue be something that you can relate to, I think just gives you a level to connect to it on. Right?
Yeah.
Like you got kind of these two levels. You get to connect to the characters and the situations on like an emotional level. But then you get to, on this whole other level, just experience the fantastical world. I totally get that.
That's what I love about it. It's just this, it's just a perfect combination of everything, really.
I totally agree about the about all of it. I definitely relate to you on all of those levels, but I have always been drawn to it as a medium for the reasons you said about how it's like we don't have to beat around the bush. Like as you're talking about flying, I'm like, yeah, when have they ever made flying look cool in the movies? I mean, now they can do it with CGI. Iron Man, Black Adam, Superman, like they made flying look pretty decently cool. But you don't have to fuss around with anything in anime. You can make anything look like anything.
Yeah.
You can make, and it always turns out like so wild and in a way that you'd be hard pressed to make it look in real life, and therefore kind of why bother? You know, like we've got this medium right here. Why bother? We got this.
Yeah. Like how many times have you seen like Goku fly around and you just go, oh, why can't I do that? Why can't I do it like he does?
All the time.
Every day.
What do you think I was doing when I was 10?
Trying to fly like Goku.
I was trying to fly. Yeah. No, it's so true. Along the same lines, the connection I have to it is I'm drawn to the possibility of progression and surpassing one's limits. I think this is really going to seal the deal on the shonen battle anime piece, or kind of show light onto that, why I love it so much. But that's pretty much the core of what I love is I'm drawn to the possibility of progression and surpassing one's limits, which is always shown in this stuff. It's like, and then I'm also drawn to any sort of, like kind of along the lines of what you're talking about with the emotions and stuff. I've always been really drawn to any sort of useful metaphors, analogies, principles, psychology, philosophy, like any of these things that I can relate to and then like digest my own shit with, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just love it. And so you get what you're talking about, this fantastical world. I'm able to see, like, I've never been that into sports. I'm like a little bit more interested in them these days, just from a human performance standpoint and a psychology standpoint. But I was getting my human performance and psychology from anime when I was a kid. I was like, and to your point, it's so far from real that it's hilarious. But to your point about the fantastical world, like the immersing yourself in a world that just isn't reality, I get to see these characters surpass their limits in ways that a human being never could. Yeah. And so it turns into this metaphor for surpassing whatever limitation in real life on a much more micro and realistic scale. But that is this huge motivating force to me, where I was taking all of these metaphors from these shows and just like, yeah, okay, I don't get to fly. I don't get to go Super Saiyan, but there's a level of plus ultra that you can bring into real life.
Absolutely, there is.
And so you give me metaphors, principles, philosophies I can relate to in real life in some way, and I eat it up. But if you do that while telling me a story that culminates in a character doing something that they or somebody else thought they couldn't do, I lose my mind. Like, that is every one of my favorite, and again, sealing the deal with the Shonen Battle
the Shonen boy
theme here. The Shonen boy. Every one of my favorite scenes in anime, like I'm sure I can think of really good exceptions if I was pressed to, but if you ask me my favorite scenes, the core ones that I'm going to go to are always instances of characters doing something that they or someone around them thought that they couldn't do. Like that, I just love it. And it always comes hand in hand with what I was talking about before, surpassing limits, right? It always goes hand in hand with some cool psychology or philosophy and some cool limit that they're surpassing that they thought they couldn't surpass, or somebody around them, circumstances, whatever, they don't think that they can go to this place, and then they do, and it's just a spectacle and a delight, and it's done in a way that can't be done in real life, which is what you said.
And the best part is because you've had so much time with this character, you're feeling what they're feeling. You're experiencing what they're experiencing. The entire time you've been telling me this, the only thing playing in my head is My Hero Academia, when All Might is telling Deku he can be a hero too.
Exactly.
And that, like
the goosebumps on me right now.
And I'm going to be completely honest, at that point, in my life when I reached like the entire first season. Yeah, whatever. Deku's a crybaby. Shut up. I don't care.
Totally.
I don't care.
I'm with you.
Like I was emotionally invested with it. Like he was just, I want to do this thing. I can't do this thing. The person I believe in more than anybody else believes in me. Like, come on.
Believe in the me that believes in you,
oh,
man.
Oh my God.
I'm with you. I am so with you. The people who were enjoying My Hero alongside me at the time, they love it to this day, but they were definitely saying what you're saying about the crying and the whatever. They were kind of haters in that way. Meanwhile, I'm just like, those tears are so necessary, and they're so impactful, and they're painting this picture that's gonna blow our minds later. And you know, I know that you're not fully caught up, but look at where we are today, and like my mind's been blown countless times.
Yeah, every time I see him do something, I'm like, that's my boy.
Right. And those tears are one of the many reasons you feel that way.
Yeah,
you know,
it's because you're right there with him. You're with this guy, this kid even, he has his dream. He can't, everybody's telling him, and even, you know, his mom is telling him, and the facts are telling him, can't experience or achieve his dream. Guess what? Yeah. The guy he looked up to his entire life showed up one day and told him, you can experience and achieve your dream. It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Like that is exactly why anime is so impactful. And like just to bring it to round it out a little bit, like I love other genres these days as well. Like I'll watch slice of life stuff. Really love sports anime, but let's be honest, that's just more of the same that we just finished talking about. And then I don't know. I've certainly branched out a lot over the years, and I love a lot of different things, but nothing hits me the same way as this previous genre that we're talking about. Just because it's chock full of that, right? Like it's designed to inject that straight to your veins, and it just always slaps me across the face and just gets me pumped.
It's it's funny too. Like when I think about it, like that's the shonen recipe, but like the recipe has not failed once, so why change it?
Yeah. That's so funny because like even some of the shows that I really doubted when they came out, like Black Clover. Have you watched much Black Clover?
I watched the first 2 episodes, and this real quick for anybody who doesn't know, Tyler kind of knows it. I had a very long lull with anime, probably because I just got so deep into it that I burned myself out on it, or just because like I wasn't there for any of the stuff that I loved emotionally anymore at that point. Let's be real. Fair. So yeah, I gave it 2 episodes and I was like, okay, it is 11 o'clock. I'm going to bed.
And never touched it again?
Never touched it again.
That's so funny. I mean, not funny because obviously it comes with some more emotionally heavy stuff, but completely fair. And honestly, not far off from what I did with it. I watched the first episode a total of 3 times.
Oh no.
And and it was actually because I hated it so much that I ended up doing that. So I ended up watching the first few episodes with a friend. I'm gonna get the story wrong, but it was something like watching the first few episodes with a friend, and then watching the start of it again for some reason, and then the third time I watched it with my significant other, whom I was literally turning this on so that she and I could just have a good time making fun of something terrible. So I started it from the beginning. And I was like, you're going to listen to this Asta kid just scream and be the worst. And this is just a ripoff of Naruto and Bleach and Fairy Tail and just all of it. And it's going to be awful. And we watched 1 episode and she's like, it wasn't so bad. What are you talking about? Let's watch another one. We watch another episode. And it's so funny because this is not a spoiler at all, but episode 5 is where I like really drew the line initially when I first watched it. Because in episode 5 they introduced the rest of the Black Bulls, which is his crew, or his soon-to-be crew. And when they introduced that, I'm like, this is a Fairy Tail Bleach ripoff. It's been done before. It like Asta's just Naruto. This is ripping off 3 big anime. Like I don't want to watch this. And I forget what even happens by the end of, actually I'm kind of remembering at the end of episode 5, but I didn't finish episode 5 the first go through. And then when she and I watched it together, we got further than I did before, and I was like, maybe this is kind of awesome.
Maybe there's
like
something
even
to
the end
this
of episode
kid.
5. Yeah, and then we just kept going, and like, is it the world's greatest anime? Certainly not. Is it taking a lot from maybe too many of those that went before it? Probably. But did it end up being a really good time? In my opinion, yeah, it had some highs and lows. It's on pause now. But the reason I bring this up at all is what you said about the shonen recipe never missing. I must say that in this instance, I thought that it was a guaranteed miss. And then again, it's not like top 10 or anything like that, but I had a good time, and I really liked some of the characters and stuff. So and then it was literally them just doing what we just said. It's like, okay, show me Asta pushing past his limits. Plus Ultra, I'm in. Like, I'm so easy in that way. But it's such a good recipe for me.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I can understand why a person wouldn't like it. It's, if you want to basic it up a little bit, it is kind of copy and paste, right?
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
down to like who the characters are.
For sure.
You got the lost kid. You got his emo friend. You have the female friend.
Yes.
You have the very loving and supportive parental unit, I guess you could say, or authority unit.
Well, and then fast forward, sorry to interrupt, but fast forward to episode 5, you've just got the rest of Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
Like the gang's all here.
But you know what? There is something to love about it. Like I love Naruto. I love Fairy Tail. I love Dragon Ball Z. So, and of course, I just said, like, My Hero, that first arc, it clicked with me emotionally.
Yeah.
So something's working somewhere.
What other, just for one more topic here that's on my mind is, what other genres and stuff do you enjoy? You kind of touched on it before, but you're not quite as pigeonholed from the sounds of it. You've watched a few other things.
Oh man, I do like slice of life as of late. I've gotten into like the cutesy one season in animes because you need a palate cleanser. Let's be real. We can't all watch towns getting destroyed 24/7.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I love horror though, very hilariously. Here's the thing with me and horror in like comic books and animation. It is gut-wrenching to me because see, in my head, like cartoons are they're a safe place.
I see what you're saying.
So the second I see somebody's lower jaw get ripped off in an anime,
we're in a whole different place now.
We are no longer in Kansas, Toto. We are in it's gross.
This is scary.
Someone stop it. I'm scared.
Yeah, and with what you said earlier about the suspension of belief, like they can take it wherever they want,
and
they
can go
do crazy. They sure do.
I have definitely lost some time watching those goriest deaths in anime videos before.
Nice. Oh boy.
And there's just some that I'm like, too far.
Yeah. Yep. There's definitely
there are horror movie directors that would watch and go, no, too much.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Yeah, I love, I love slice of life. I love horror. Oh god, I love mech animes very much.
Ooh. That's cool. You're going to have to enlighten me to ones to go towards, because I definitely loved some Gundam. I didn't put it on this list, actually. I forgot, but I definitely watched some Gundam, but never got invested in any of the stories. I just kind of like trying to draw the mechs and thinking about the mechs and
They're
stuff
really
like that.
cool.
And then when we got to the age of streaming, when I could actually start something from the beginning and understand the political drama that's taking place.
Don't know where to start with Gundam.
Well, you don't know where to start, but get this. Lots of the lots of the mech animes that were available at that time became the CG mech animes.
Yeah.
And I just, I wanted what I grew up with, and I wanted to understand that, but it wasn't available. The only thing that was available was like all the CG mechs, which I can still get on board with under the right circumstances, but they've never gripped me. So you'll have to point me towards some of the best.
I think one you might really like, and I sincerely mean this, Aldnoah Zero. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. I've not started
it's
but
incredible. That is another 2 a.m. one for me. Back when it was, it was on Netflix. I just put it on because it looked beautiful. It is beautiful. Highly recommend it.
Nice. Like good story.
Great story, incredible action, incredible animation and art. Oh my god.
2D Max or 3D Max?
I can't. I feel like it's 3D Max if I remember correctly.
That's okay.
But it blends well. It might be 2D. It might just be like that animation that looks 3D.
So good.
Yeah. And then Knights of Sidonia, that's all 3D CG, but I loved it personally.
I've wanted to go back to that because that's
Oh, have you seen it?
no, I haven't seen the new stuff. I saw the old stuff when it was on TV in this era that I was describing at the start of our conversation.
Knights of Sidonia?
Oh no, I'm getting it mixed up with something else. No, Knights of Sidonia I have started. I'm a fool. And I've not finished it. I'm getting it mixed up with something else because I'm good at anime.
Because I am a top tier weeb.
Yeah.
I know them all. I know all the Gokus and the yellow haired boys.
No, I was getting it mixed up with a completely different series. I'm bad.
Wondering if you're confusing it with Ajin because they're kind of the same company and they were both Netflix originals. Although you said from your childhood, so I'm.
No, it's completely something else that I remember seeing and getting it mixed up with something completely different. Because as soon as you said, "Are you sure Knights of Sidonia?" I was like,
I'm not sure.
I delved deeper into my memory banks and pictured Knights of Sidonia and realized that I was thinking of two different things.
That one's a pure outer space mech body horror experience.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And worth watching.
I think it is. I think it's worth the ride, personally.
Sick. It's on the list. How do you want to close this out? We've been going. We've been going for a full hour. We've made an anime hour this day.
Let's do the following. Our favorite anime. It can be our forever top 3 or the ones we're vibing on the most right now. Doesn't matter.
Love it.
And then this is what I wanted to ambush you with. I think let's just close it off by talking about the goals we have for this show, be it our personal ones, be it for the show itself, because we've talked about it already off air. But I think if we talk about it here and put it in writing, that might bring it closer to a place of reality. You know what I mean?
Wow, this is an ambush. And you want it on here for all of our friends to hear is what you're trying to do to me.
Yeah, my friends are going to hear it too.
I know. You're an impressive fella.
In fairness, though, my friends have heard me for the past 15 years talk nonstop about like my hopes and dreams and what I want to.
Mine too. Yeah, I've become a little bit more shelled up about it a little bit. But the fire burns hotter than ever. I don't talk about it as out loud as I did. But
same here.
Anybody listening to this is gonna know kind of my hopes and aspirations with this stuff.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, what order do you want this in, man?
You know what? I'm gonna give you my top 3 anime and the ones I'm currently vibing on.
Do it.
Top 3. Number 1, Hunter x Hunter. Absolutely. I love Hunter x Hunter.
I'm not surprised.
So much. I mean, look at the name of the show. Where do you think I got it from? That's right. I got it from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it's right there. It's
Don't
obvious.
you guys see? I put the Dragon Ball right there on the logo if you're staring at the video portion.
The Z's right in the middle.
It's right there. But man, you've nearly finished it. You see what there is to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love Hunter x Hunter. And I even have 4 of the manga sitting right next to me.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, I don't want to take us off track every time we bring up one of these animes.
No, do. But I like to see where it goes.
Where I'm at with Hunter x Hunter is I really struggle with I don't know if One Piece has transcended this with its legendary nature, but I believe it will come to a conclusion, and I believe that it has the momentum to reach that conclusion, and so I have this level of trust with it. With a show like Hunter x Hunter, where the manga's not finished and the manga may never be finished, although there's there's always hope, and it appears to be trucking along again, which is amazing. But when both go on pause, I just get so worried, and I'm like, well, even though it's this beautiful piece of art that everyone loves, I struggle to get super invested in it because I know I won't see where it goes. Like, it won't have sort of a capstone at the end and be a complete story. I'll be left where I was left in Bleach.
Yeah.
Bleach ends with no spoilers. It just ends, Ichigo continues, and I'm just like, that's unsatisfying. I'm going to go read the manga. Well, if I don't have the ability to even read the manga to its conclusion, it just kind of scares me. That's a me thing.
No, I totally get it.
and I got to get over
Yeah.
it because I'm like over 100 or more episodes in. I've watched a bunch, but I just haven't taken it all the way because I don't want to be let down. I'm
You don't want to get
protecting
your
myself.
hopes up.
Yeah.
Two things. One, this isn't the first time this has happened with Hunter x Hunter. We can save this for the hard to find series episode. Oh, setting that one up.
You'll have to educate me during that
Oh, I
conversation.
will. Trust me. But this isn't new to Hunter x Hunter and its anime adaptations.
No, I know that.
But
Yeah.
the second thing, my friend who I got into Hunter x Hunter, he has kept up religiously with the manga or manga, whichever one you prefer. And he says it has not dropped at all. The quality has, if anything, has gone up, he says.
That's incredible.
So if that's a glimmer of hope for you.
That is a glimmer of hope, and I should just trust. I should just trust, and I should just do it because the way people talk about it, and it's like it's right there in this category that I've just been gushing about for an hour, right? And I've seen some of those moments, even up to where I am now. I've seen some of those moments that I've been talking about, so I know that it's up my alley. I just need to finish it off, especially since it's your number one.
Yeah, it is.
So tell me about 2 and 3.
Number 2, Kill la Kill.
Oh, really?
And by the way, Kill la Kill was number 1 for the longest time.
Wow.
But realistically, it might be tied for number 1. But
that's fair. These things don't have to be
they don't have
set
to be
in stone in any way.
Exactly.
They don't have to be linear. You can have two occupying the same space.
Yeah.
We can go quantum.
And of course, it's always for different reasons too.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't know what it is. Kill la Kill is just, it's the perfect storm is what it is.
I got to rewatch it. It is incredible.
Everything it does, it even makes fun of itself. The entire time it's making fun of itself. How can you beat that?
Yeah, there's something magical about that.
And it's got incredible characters the whole way through. It's got an incredible art style the whole way through.
Yeah, it has that in
Oh
spades.
god, the animation of Kill la Kill alone is phenomenal. That you could,
it really
if
is.
you told me that's like, if you said, "Hey, Kill la Kill is my favorite for the animation alone," I'd be like, "Yep, I get it."
Yeah, totally.
That one whole reason,
That's awesome.
I totally get it.
Yep, totally. I could make the similar argument for one of the things on my list that I'll get to, because you're so right. When something's beautiful, it's just this.
It is. You don't have to explain it.
That's amazing.
And number 3,
Okay, and then 3.
it's the big brother to Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann.
That's awesome.
And same reasons, and we've already gushed over it. Just rewind.
Yeah, it's got it has all those reasons for sure. And then for me, it hit me so hard from just a psychological, philosophical way, like that other thing I was talking about, where like I love it when you've got analogies and dialogue and stuff, that metaphors that just like hit home and allow you to use the concept of, like, it was my little brother who told me to watch it, and I'm like, what?
Oh,
Like this show? Like you're telling me to watch this show? He's like, it changed my life. And I'm like, what? Like, I've got goosebumps right now. You're telling me that it is that important. He's like, it's important.
It is.
And I went and I watched it because I had watched like one episode and not jive. Like, it just didn't grab me. I was like, okay, this is like a cartoony good time, but there's no substance here. Like, people aren't punching each other, so I'm out. and then my little brother tells me that, and I'm just like, okay, I trust you. And then I go and I watch it, and then the philosophy just starts pouring out of it. This concept of believe in the me that believes in you. Like, holy, that show slaps. Like, it, and I don't even want to say, like, there's spoiler moments and stuff, which, this show of ours is going to be chock full of spoilers. It has to be.
Yeah.
But so maybe we'll do a Gurren Lagann episode or something.
I'd be down.
Just a breakdown of some of the things some of the gems. But there's like a couple heavy hitting scenes that I will watch over and over again just to like blow my mind and get myself pumped up.
Yeah.
And it's this like cartoony, like it's just, and it's beautiful work of art.
It is. I love everything about it, man. Like, you can't top Gurren Lagann. Even the opening song, it is so hype. I'm sending it to you now because it is hyped as you can get.
That's awesome. It's such a good time. And that's gonna make me actually, just seeing this pop up in Discord makes me want
Rewatch
to
it?
go watch some of those scenes that I'm talking about, the ones that I just scroll to that blow my mind.
Oh man, I
That's a good top 3. That's not at all what I expected. This is one of the things I wanted out of this show.
the surprises.
Just to jump around a little bit, is the surprises, because we've got overlap with our tastes. We've got differences. We've got lots of overlap, but then differences in what we select as our top 3. Like my top 3 is going to sound so basic compared to that.
Oh no,
It is. It really is. No, don't. It's like I take pride in this. I can defend these. I'm okay.
You know, to make you feel better, we can do favorite
answer.
characters too, because 2 of my characters are kind of basic.
I think we should save characters for the character
Oh,
episode.
there we go. I totally did not mean to just hype up another possible episode. It just happened.
Oopsies. Yeah, I would love to talk characters, but I think we could do a whole episode.
Oh, 100% we could.
For sure. And then I'm game for all the basic boys and girls, because I will no doubt have the the basic of the basic as well.
Oh, same. 100% same.
On that note, my number 1 is, and this is why I agree with going quantum and having 2 things occupy the same space from time to time, is I have an inability to remove Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super from my top spot.
I respect it, though.
I'm a basic boy. It can't be done. I try and I try. Like these next 2 that I'm going to bring up, they have come so close to dethroning it. But there's just too much nostalgia for the past.
I was
going to
ask if you thought, the fact that it was such a staple of your childhood, if that played into it.
Well, it's a staple of my entire hood. That's the thing.
See?
Not only did I not grow out of Dragon Ball, out of anime, I didn't grow out of Dragon Ball either. I kept rewatching it. Like I kept rewatching it, and even through the years that it didn't exist anymore, it went on pause. When I was a kid, and then when it came back with Battle of the Gods, I lost my mind. I was like, how did I live long enough for it to come back? I thought it was gone forever. Like GT was not my jam, and we can get into that another time, but it came back. And when it came back, it came back in a way.
It came back hard.
It did. And like there's all the, like, you can meme about how poor the anime, like the animation quality of the anime specifically was, but like the movie animation was super high quality. And say what you want about all the stories, but like I'll defend them. I loved where they took Dragon Ball Super. And like there's tons of indefensible stuff too. Like there's stuff that I'll critique all day. But I love where they ended up taking it, and it just took this thing from my childhood that carried me through, gave me inspiration as a young adult, and then like came back, better than ever in a lot of ways. And so I just love it, and I can't dethrone it every time I try.
You know what? I think
so. That's number 1.
I highly doubt that there would be anybody that would blame you at all. Even me, I can't blame you, because that was my childhood.
I think I'm not alone. Yeah. I think there's a lot of DBZ fanboys. We're a thing, and
they still are. The second Battle of Gods came out, they came out too.
Yeah, they're like, we're back, baby. We never left.
Still here. I told you it'd come back.
Yeah. So let's continue the basic train.
All right.
And I'm going to say, now I'm embarrassed. I'm going to say my number 2 is Demon Slayer. I love Demon Slayer.
I do too.
This is the one that I was going to say, like you did, about animation. Like it's too beautiful. And I know that that's a basic answer, and it's just a work of art. I
mean, let's be real. You can like something for the surface reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I just find depth where there may not be. I don't know. It is a very basic story. Like I'll concede that the story isn't too wild. Like it's very superficial as far as hunting demons is concerned. But my brain just goes seeking for the philosophies of the characters and stuff. And when the first season came out, it was just this mind-blowing spectacle. I watched the first season like 3 times, and I was blown away. But it didn't catapult its way into this top spot until
Mugen Train.
Until Mugen Train, it shot up. I don't know how far it shot up my list, but it shot way up. and then the most recent season just slammed it.
Oh God,
I think
the Entertainment District arc.
Yeah.
If you have been on, if you haven't watched it yet, let this be the thing that propels you into watching the Entertainment District arc.
Good call out. I've never, and this is why. So I want to say that the Mugen Train arc pushed it to maybe the 3rd spot, and I had to let it go to the 2nd spot because that Entertainment District arc, like, I've not leapt up from my seat and screamed in hypitude the way that I did for like 4 episodes in a row. Like, it just kept hitting. It just wouldn't stop.
The second, and I know what he's talking about, the second that arc picks up, and if you've seen it, you know too, it doesn't stop. It goes. And you want it to keep going, even though you kind of go, please stop. I need to take a breath.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been just catapulted along like that so consistently, and just like a level of hype that just kept breaking. And it's pretty sweet. I haven't rewatched it, and I'm hoping that my brain hasn't overhyped it and I can go back and watch it again and still be pumped. But
I think you might be.
It was just wild. And like, even just thinking about it now just gets me so amped. And so, yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I think it still does have a cool story. And I think that even though I haven't read the manga, I almost bought the box set of the manga.
You should have.
It's cheap on Amazon right now, and it would just be such a cool thing on the shelf and to read it. The art style's a little different. That's a whole nother topic, but the art style doesn't look quite the same, which is very intriguing to me.
I kind of like that, though. That means they improved upon perfection.
Exactly. I had the exact same thought. That's a really good call. So super curious. I'll hopefully read it at some point, but I haven't read it, and I'm expecting the story to get a little deeper and more interesting. Like, it's just a prediction of mine that it's going to go in some pretty cool.
I'm willing to join you on that idea. I highly believe it will.
I think so, and it could just become this like very perfectly packaged thing one day. You know, It's not very long. Like, the whole manga's like 27.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like
it's very
20 short. Some plus volumes.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like I don't know, like an FMA Brotherhood sized show, and like I rewatch FMA Brotherhood once a year. So Demon Slayer could be that as well. Yeah.
You know what? So for me, one of the biggest things about Demon Slayer that makes it work is Tanjiro. And the thing about it is, like, I'm so used to just there being like some like semblance of a malicious character kind of deal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just some character who's mean, or they're angry, or they just,
or at least have an edge,
to them. He doesn't. He is
totally
just unabashed kindness throughout the entire series.
And you know what? Like, maybe we should be talking about this in probably our next episode. I feel like we're not going to be able to help ourselves. We're going to have to talk characters next. Oh, yeah. But I couldn't agree more. Yeah, 100% agree with you. And it's so nice and refreshing to hear you say that, because so many people have told me that they think he's kind of a nothing sandwich, like a bit of a wet blanket. What? And not a lot of depth to him. Yeah, I've heard that. Because he's just too much of a best boy. He doesn't have an edge of any kind, and therefore he's too one note. And I'll concede that, like, there's a one-notedness to that, but it's, to your point, it's like a note that we haven't seen done in such a pure form. Yeah. Like, he's legit he's just pure kindness, and it's so refreshing, like you're saying, and so cool, because you get to see it wielded in these incredible ways. I should stop myself.
No, I know. I was gonna say, like, it's just such an unabashed form of kindness, and media just doesn't do that anymore. We want the sarcastic douchebag who doesn't care.
Yeah, really good call. I find it so refreshing, and honestly just so exciting that you feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
I have heard people think he's too bland.
No way, man.
Yeah, where they like all the other characters but aren't that big into Tanjiro. They're like, yeah, Tanjiro's okay, but, you know, the other characters they're
the same people who said Deku cried too much. I guarantee it.
Oh, dude, they probably are. I think you're right. I love that we're on the same page about those two. Which brings me to my third.
Oh,
I gotta put My Hero in there. I feel like I could probably shuffle this third spot in some way, but man, My Hero just did more of everything that we've been talking about. Just more of the scenes where you're just like, he can't do this. Like, what do you mean? Like, that we're gonna push past our limits in this way? Like, the whole concept of Plus Ultra sort of being given that label. I love that concept. I love the characters. There's characters I truly do not like, and I would exclude.
Oh yeah.
But the boys, the main group, the lots of the side characters that aren't terrible. There's just like so much there. The villains, like, and the powers, and then just like the psychology and the philosophy. Like there's a scene in season 2 where, and this is what pushed it into this spot for me. This pushed it to number 2.
Okay.
And then it's kind of been bumped. The tournament arc in season 2. How much have you watched? You've watched that.
Was that when all the schools are competing in that arena?
Yeah.
Yes, I have gotten. I think the last episode I watched was the school festival with hey, here's our first spoiler, when Lemillion is holding Aerie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she smiled.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my heart.
Yeah. So that's season 4. That's the end of season 4. So this would be season 2. So you've definitely, like you said, seen this.
Oh, yeah.
And story time with Tyler. I'll keep it short for you. But it's one of those impactful moments where I'm just like, wow. And it was Deku versus Todoroki.
Oh, I knew it was going to be that one.
Tournament. But it's this tiny detail that, like, I'm sure other people have dissected and are in love with, but like, it just blew my mind. And it's that Deku wants to win against this opponent, and he wants this opponent to go as hard as he can so that he can win for real, like, so that he can actually become the best superhero he can be. And so you've got Todoroki with his trauma, not being willing to use his fire side due to pride and trauma. Yeah, he hates his dad. And then you've got Deku screaming at him. Like, I'm covered in goosebumps again. I'm so easy. He's just like, he's like, it's your power too.
You're not your dad.
And you're not your dad. And like, why would you hold back against me? Like, that's not fair to you. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to anybody here. Like, we're here for a reason. Like, you got to bring it. And I'm not a very competitive guy, but the idea of drawing out the best in your opponent,
even though you want to win, and probably don't have a chance to win against that person.
Exactly. It's like, I grew up with martial arts and Dragon Ball Z, and so here we are. We've got this character telling another cool character to bring out his absolute best, even though, exactly as you just said, it will be Deku's demise. Like, his chances of winning go down, you know, if Todoroki gets access to this thing that he refuses to use, and he pulls it out of him, out of kindness, out of kindness as a peer, but also out of, like, to save him as a hero, and then also just to be the best he can be. Like, Deku wants to be the number one hero, and so the best way to do that is to do this thing for real. And
oh my god, I want to rewatch it now.
And just to shove it into the mold that I talked about at the start of this episode, to me, that fits the mold of, well, certainly the psychological and philosophical stuff I just rambled about, but I think that it also fits the other mold of something that somebody shouldn't be able to do. Like, you've got this character that really probably should shut his mouth and win, and he pushes past that limit. He does something surprising, something unexpected, something ridiculous, and pulls somebody else out of their limit, and the rest is history. So I do love My Hero, and
I did too.
I'm looking at kind of my top 10, and I could probably shuffle a lot of these around in a way that makes that top 3 more interesting, but right now I'd say that those 3 are sitting up there.
Okay, I respect that top 3
very samey.
so much. I do. I do. I love everything you stated. Like, I love, it's just all the things that I love.
Same to you, man. You caught me off guard with those, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. Really cool. As for what I'm vibing with right now, probably not a very interesting list. Like One Piece, actually, I'm definitely vibing with that.
There we go.
Trying to chip away at that, and then just finished Chainsaw Man.
Oh, I did too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved it. It's a ride.
It is. Oh, it is crazy.
Yeah, it's got something special. I haven't read the manga. I can only imagine that
I have seen
it gets crazier.
bits and pieces from it, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
There's no way it won't be like one of the top 3 as it progresses.
Yeah. It's got a lot of hype, and then it lived up to that hype, I think.
I think so too.
Which is so cool.
And not a lot can do that.
No, totally. Like things always fall through these days. Through, like there's this hype train, and then they just don't live up to it. And so here we are with something that after the first episode, I think I've heard a lot of people say this, like the first episode didn't blow them away. I was one of those people, but I just kind of had faith that, there's a lot of hype behind this. It's probably something special. And then I think it was just straight up episode 2. Like episode 1 didn't blow my mind, but then by episode 2,
I think episode 2 was the one that did it.
Super in.
For a lot of people, really.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So that's a good one. I'll just hammer off a couple. Mob Psycho 100, which sounds like you want to restart, so maybe I want to restart, but I'm crushing season 3 right now.
Yeah, finish season 3, then restart.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
And then Bleach just ended, but wow, what a treat. It's kind of like the Dragon Ball Super vibes for me, where but better, frankly, where something that could go on but didn't go on is now going on, and it's living up to the hype as well, where I couldn't have asked for more in terms of animation and stuff. Like the 1,000 Year Blood War arc has been really incredible. So
now, is this the last arc forever, or are they picking it up, or what's the deal? As
a new anime podcast host, I'm going to dig myself a hole and say, as a Bleach fan, even, I actually don't know what's going on with the new arc that's out. I just haven't looked into it. So what I mean by that is, in 2016, the manga came to an end with the final arc, which is known as the 1,000 Year Blood War arc. That is what's on right now. It is on pause right now where I am, but that is the arc that they're animating now. And up until recently, that was the conclusion of Bleach. So they were putting out an anime to finish the series. That's the conclusion of Bleach. But it's come to my attention that there's actually more of the manga. There were some light novels that I haven't read, which I want to go back to. But I think that he's doing a whole nother arc now.
Oh my God.
My hope would be, it's crazy. And my hope would be that we don't get this mismatch where something doesn't get finished. My hope would be that he, finishes this new arc, and then we also get that animated using the momentum that this 1,000 Year Blood War arc generates. So that's my prediction, is what will happen. So yes, it's the final arc, but that's as of 2016. There's probably a new arc going on right now that I need to educate myself on and read. And then I hope that it gets animated as well.
From what everybody was telling me, was this arc was just happening to make up for what was apparently a very disastrous finale when the anime originally ended. That's just what was told to me.
Kind of like, so the anime did end poorly. Like I kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation, like the anime did originally end in a poor spot. Like the weakest arc of all took place, and then the anime was finished at that point, which is too bad. However, the manga kept going, and it actually met its own slightly disastrous end, because its ending was rushed, which is too bad. And what's really cool about the 1,000 Year Blood War arc anime is it's solving both of those problems. So far, I believe that it has the power to solve both those problems. It will put a better capstone. It already has put a way better ending on Bleach. But the anime has an opportunity to improve upon the rushed ending that took place in the manga. They can just squish some parts down, stretch some parts out in ways that make a lot of sense and cover a little bit more ground in a way that would be more satisfying to fans. So I think that your friend's probably not that far off. Like it's we're lucky to have it as a better capstone to what was already out. And then furthermore, it's going to be a better capstone than the manga could even achieve, I believe. And then who knows where it goes from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got me sold.
I love Bleach. What have you been watching?
So let's see. I watched going back to cutesy one season anime because that's kind of what I wanted to watch. I watched Love is Hard for Otaku.
Okay.
Absurd name, dumbest name ever, funniest anime I've probably ever seen.
Really?
I absolutely. It is hilarious. It is so absurd. I love it so much just for that.
That's selling me. I love the levity. Like I love comedy in anime and comedic anime.
Dude, comedy anime, it's peak comedy.
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely going to check it out.
Dude, it is so funny. I can't recommend it enough. And it's lighthearted.
We need it.
Which is always good, which is always a nice break. And then I watched Horimiya. That's a full-on romance anime, but it's a pretty cute little story. I really liked it. I don't like what they did to the main character. They changed up his really awesome look.
Like you...
Top 10 anime betrayals right there, man. Yeah.
So he just looks one way in the manga, and then in the anime they switch it up in a bad way?
No, in the anime... Probably both. He starts out looking really cool, but then they tame up how he looks throughout.
Oh, no.
If you watch it, you'll see, and you'll be like, why would you do that? He was so cool looking.
No way.
I was so upset, but I kept watching anyway.
That's great.
And then the third anime I've been vibing on the most as of late, it completely contradicts those two, Made in Abyss.
You've been telling me about that off air. I gotta watch it.
So anybody who has seen it, they know what's up. Anybody who has heard about it, I'm here to tell you, watch it. It's the whole point of the story is the reason it's so dark is it's about these kids going on this journey in this very dangerous parallel unknown area, right? And of course, if you're a kid and you're doing that, guess what? You're not going to be a kid. You're being forced to undergo this nightmare.
No doubt.
And that's kind of the whole point of it. It's like it's these kids that have to go through all this stuff, and they kind of grow up, but they're still kids. They still have fun. And beyond that part, like the world they've created, it's phenomenal. It's like I told you, it's kind of like Hunter x Hunter if it was a hard R. And Hunter x Hunter is already a soft R.
No doubt.
So it's so good, and I don't hate. There's only ever been one character that I hated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you're supposed to hate him.
Totally. Like, those characters exist, you know? It's
Absolutely.
When you're not supposed to hate them that it's really hard.
Yeah, it really is.
That's awesome.
It's nice when there's one that you're supposed to hate, and do I hate him? Because his story connects with my favorite character's story. And I love the character so much that I'm like, put me in the universe so I can go punch that guy.
Wow.
Just animate me doing it. I don't care.
You know that's good storytelling
that's
then, right? Because like...
Yeah, when you're like, somebody draw me punching him, please.
You're in there. You want to be a part of the story.
I love it.
That's awesome. You've really sold me on that. From before and now.
I cannot recommend it enough. And yes, we have talked about this. This is going to happen with anime. There's going to be elements that we can't condone.
Right. Less tasteful, in our opinion, pieces.
Yeah.
Unavoidable.
It's unavoidable, unfortunately. Yeah. We don't condone it, but it happens. And it's kind of in every bit of media that we all love at the end of the day.
Yeah. Something or another. Yeah. It's very true.
Mm. But yeah, that's what I've been vibing on lately.
Amazing.
And I just learned that Made in Abyss's anime is getting another season.
Wow. So what does that put it at?
Okay, so it did the Demon Slayer thing where the second arc is actually a movie.
Love it.
So I guess this would technically be season 3.
Nice. So there's first season, a movie, and then there's another season coming.
Well, one season, movie, season 2, next arc.
Oh, I see. Amazing. It's
so
on the
excited.
list. I got things to watch.
There we go. New things.
Paradox of choice. There's too much anime, but we will.
Oh God, I know.
We will watch it. We will enjoy it. We will talk about it. We'll talk about it here. All right. Your ambush Our final order of business.
What we want for and out of this, be it, personal, we've talked about it off air, or for the show itself. It's kind of it's all over the place, I guess, realistically. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's a big question, and the answer can only inevitably be made up of all kinds of little bits, right? To boil it down for me, I would say there's the obvious answer of just wanting to talk about anime. Like I have you and a handful of other friends that it's one of my favorite things on earth to do, period. It's anime, which is one of my favorite things on earth, period, and having good conversation, which is one of my favorite things on earth.
It's always fun.
Like I love these two things. So it's marrying two of my favorite things in the world together. So just doing it. Like, we haven't talked about much, but we've talked about so much in the last, hour and 40. So it's crazy. And I could do this. I could do this every day. So that's the easy part is I just love talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And we're the same. Like the one main thing we want out of this and for this is to do it.
Yes, perfect segue into the other personal reason, which is that I want to create cool stuff. I want to create.
I do too.
Yeah, I know you do, and I'm paralyzed. You've been doing it, but I have always struggled to actually do it, and this is. I don't want to devalue the idea at all, but it's a low bar to entry in that the subject matter is something that I can talk about for ages. You wanted to do this, right? And you wanted to do this plus me wanting to talk about it was kind of a no-brainer of like, okay, well, just do it. Just get in front of a microphone, have a conversation with your friend about this thing that you love, because then you can say, once it's, edited and out there, you can say that you're putting your name on something, you're actually making something. And so that is the biggest reason to do it is can just, putting my name to something like this and actually hitting publish alongside you, can this create momentum for my other projects, the ones that have yet to see the light of day? Like selfishly, that's what I would like to see. Like there are projects that are completely unrelated, projects that could be tangentially related, and even if they never got connected with this podcast,
the drive from
could
one,
be active. Sorry, say that again.
The drive from doing the podcast could lead to the drive of doing those.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. The drive, the momentum, the itch that needs to be scratched. Like I've suppressed it so hard and just told myself like one day. And then here you are doing it and asking me to come along for the ride. And who's to say if it'll work? But I've been pretty excited all day.
I have too. I have too. Believe me.
So and this has been super rambly on my part, but like, your first can be your worst. Like I'm just happy to be here, happy to be talking about this, and it's my hope that this ignites some of the other stuff that I have within so that I can start creating more.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing is like, let's be realistic. Both of us kind of have like, it's okay to say it. We're going in it with a few selfish personal reasons. Like you want it to be the drive to kick up the other projects, just like I want it to be a drive to kick up more projects. Or maybe I want it to be the project that kicks off.
Totally. And it totally could be that. And I would love that. I would love to talk about anime often, and with it reaching people would be super fun. Like,
I would
be able
too.
to talk about it with a community. Yeah. So I'm right there with you, man.
And that's the thing, like being transparent about that. Like, yeah, someone's going to roll their eyes. I roll my eyes when I talk about it to people, but at the same time, like that's just the truth of the matter. Like, this is what I want to do. Do I want it to take off to a place that I couldn't, fathom? 100% I do. Will it ever? Yeah. Probably not. Are we going to have fun with where it goes and what we're doing? Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah. But what's the point in not believing that it could go somewhere fun? You know what I mean? Like, I think that having realistic beliefs is completely reasonable, and I'm going to do the same. But Why not? Why not dream? Like, there's no reason that this can't become something. Let's do it.
Yeah, if like we get to episode 5 and we go, hey, what if we do t-shirts? We could. My parents could wear t-shirts. Kareen could wear t-shirts. Our friends could wear the t-shirts. Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd wear the t-shirts.
I would too. People would be like, oh, what's that? I'd be like, oh, let me tell you. Hold on, baby bird. I'll take you for a journey.
You know what? I'm going to say this just because I know that you wanted stuff cemented, but you just reminded me with the shirt idea. You just reminded me of something I saw at PAX last year.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was so subtle. So I had with a group of friends, you know this, we had a little project called The Dullest Blade. It was a Let's Play channel. And the year we went to PAX, I think it was the first year we went to PAX, which is video game conference. Lots of you guys are going to know what that is. I had printed up Dullest Blade stickers, and I don't think I gave them to anyone.
Oh, no.
I don't think I left them anywhere. I think that I just shelled up and I don't even know where that stack of stickers is to this day.
Oh,
but
no.
I brought some merch and I didn't utilize it. I didn't do any networking. I kind of chickened out. Or the opportunity didn't really present itself. But that was like, I don't know, 6 years ago. And just last year, there was this gentleman who I just overheard. I was like looking at a big stuffy or something. and this gentleman like walked over to this merchant and she was like, she like pointed at his shirt, like what you're talking about. Like she pointed at his shirt and was like, oh, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's my podcast. And then they had this like conversation that I overheard.
See?
It's like, and it just made me so happy. But at the same time, like made me want to be in his shoes. Like I want to tell somebody about my random ass podcast,
Yeah.
It's so cool to me, right? Like if we're having cool conversations and people want to join in, I want to, I want to be in that situation where I get to let people know about it.
I do too. And that's the thing. Like people are always going to say, oh, well, the whole market of insert niche thing is oversaturated. I don't care. You know why it's oversaturated?
Yeah.
People like it. There's
Totally.
so many people who like it. And if it clicks with them, it clicks with them. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, people have not seen the TxT Anime Hour version of that either. They don't know me, They don't know you, and now we're going to change that.
Absolutely. That's one of the big goals you and I both went into this with.
Yeah, man.
And yes, it's a lofty goal to reach, like getting a big audience and whatnot. But if you don't have that goal, I mean, you can still do it for fun, yeah, but why not add the extra sprinkles?
I totally agree. It gives you somewhere to strive for, like not to be defeated if you don't get there, but it just makes that game so much more sweet, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun.
This was I'll be completely honest, I've probably been more nervous than you this entire time.
Really?
Oh, 100%. I've shivered every now and then, but then again, it's winter and I'm cold. That might be it.
Yeah, true.
No, we'll just say I'm really excited. I'm incredibly excited because
that's good. You can interpret those nerves as excitement, man.
We've been doing this for almost 2 hours. I almost don't want it to stop. I know we both need it to stop.
I think it's a good ending point, but I'm so glad you said that, like about being nervous. I think that just means that you care. You know what I mean? Like that's a sign that you want to do it and you care about it.
I wouldn't have gotten on the computer an hour earlier out of excitement today if
I hadn't been late.
Well, so here's a little fun anecdote for the end. I have a clock that is an hour ahead. I never changed it. And the reason I did this was so I could properly time out I have an automatic feeder for my cats.
Oh, yeah.
So this clock, it says 9:30. So for the cats, it would be 8:30 for their dinner. And I checked the clock and I was like, I gotta hurry. I gotta turn the computer on. I gotta get everything set up. And then I checked the real clock on the computer. I was like, yeah, I'm an hour ahead and that clock's wrong.
Amazing.
But that's how excited I was. I was like, oh, gotta hurry.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Yeah. And I was just rushing home from work as safely as I could. And I just
what you should have done was you should have leaned your head out of the car and screamed, move, I have a podcast to record.
I got a podcast to record. Get out of the way.
You people don't understand.
Yeah, totally. You muggles.
Oh my god.
There's
You
anime
filthy
to talk
normies.
about. I gotta go weeb out.
You people don't get it. We have to talk about Goku's hair tonight.
That's right.
We
It's
haven't
so
yet, but we
spiky.
will.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, because guess what? We're going to do it.
Yeah, it's coming. I think it's going to be a character episode. What do you think?
I think so too. I think
it'd be a lot
we
of
can
fun.
do. No, yeah, I'm not going to say it. You all can just guess what I was going to say. All four of our friends who are going to listen.
Yeah, that's right. Nice. Well, okay. On that note, I'm gonna sign us off to a close here. I'm gonna say thanks for tuning in, friends.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And this is the first episode. We got to introduce ourselves.
I'm Tyler,
I'm Tristan.
and this is the TxT Anime Hour.
Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.